Did you bring some fish?
That is quite logical, Captain.
Where shall I strike?
Test your might. Test your might.
Get it out! Get it out!
Test your might. Test your might.
Your mother was a murderer! You smell like a leopard! You are not prepared!
Ho, ho, ho! Merry holidays and a happy Geek Card Show 116. This will be our Christmas/New Year special, and we will be taking a little bit of a break after this. So this time around, we have gathered together some festive-themed news topics, and we'll go into those in just a moment. But for pleasantries, as it were, I am, of course, Razerbug. And with me is the wonderful Robbie Glow.
Hello.
And I've no idea why I'm talking like a 19th century Victorian gentleman.
Is it Christmas, sir?
It's Christmas. Tiny Timmy.
Did you get the Christmases?
I haven't had any Christmases yet. We're a bit early.
No. Bit early,
Well,
yeah. We still have a couple of days left.
Yes. Maybe a week or so before the madness descends.
Oh, God. No, the madness is going to be this weekend when everyone panic buys.
Oh, okay. Have you got all your Christmas presents bought?
I think so. I say dubiously.
Have you had to, as my partner has, resorted to a full-on Google spreadsheet with color coding in order to track what presents have been bought for who?
Oh, my God. No.
Yeah,
Does that work?
Yeah, she's gone full-on, like, automated it. Apparently she started mocking one of her friends for doing it. And then
did it.
And then this year, because we were trying to keep track of, like, who was buying what for who and what presents were from both of us and all this sort of thing. Yeah, she's gone full-on spreadsheet, and it's got color coding and everything.
Oh, dear. Well, if it's worked, then it's good.
Yeah, I mean, I think we are all bought up. I think we are all delivered, wrapped. I think the only things left to do is for me to put tags on her gifts and for people to take delivery of things that we've sent further out. I think you guys got something from us, right?
Yeah, I got a package from that I haven't opened, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, it came in the post.
So, and I think our other guild mates have now had something today. And they celebrate Yule rather than Christmas, so they open things a bit earlier.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, technically, I celebrate Yule, but we don't ever open anything on Christmas Day anyway. We always do it on Boxing Day.
Ah, that's really cool. I was going to ask about festive plans later, but yeah, we'll come to that because everyone does it slightly different. I always find it fascinating. So I guess we should dive in and talk about what's been going on in our festive geeky weeks.
Yeah. So I haven't really had much time for WoW because this week I had 5 nights in a row where something was planned, whether it was board games or it was like one night was a pub quiz. I had D&D and there was something else going on that I've already forgotten what it was. Oh, LARP, yes, on Sunday, yeah. So I've had Christmas-related events, and I'm knackered now. But we did do some Mythic. I haven't even logged on today, so I don't even know what I've got in the weekly item thing.
I haven't logged in either yet. Will you be around for the raid, is the question.
Yes, of course. I don't. That's in my diary. I don't ever miss that. I did the new Warfront. Done it once, but I've done it on my own in like a LFG thing, the auto group thing, the Warfront table. So I haven't done it with any guildies yet, but I'm looking forward.
What did you think of it? Because I know some of our guild thought it was better than the first one.
It's manic, but I like how it is like the first one was like you go to a place and you bring it back.
Yeah.
And this one's more of you go to a place, you hold the place, and then you go to the next place.
Yeah, this one for me felt more like an actual war zone rather than a fetch and carry quest.
Yeah, because like you can lose territory, which I quite liked. There was like a sort of I mean, there's still the resource gathering thing.
But the resources seem to drop off of mobs you kill, which I thought was kind of... I preferred it.
Oh, you can pick up some things like through the environment as is normal, but you don't actively sort of go and do it.
There's less chopping down trees, which felt obviously quite sensible given that you're in the Night Elf zone and they probably wouldn't appreciate you chopping down trees.
Yeah, it's a bit much. Did you do the new war campaign stuff?
I did some of the new questing stuff in that area to unlock the Warfront, and then I've since done some of the stuff with Jaina, but I can't remember how far along of that I got.
I still haven't done any of the new islands yet.
No, I've not done any of the new islands either, no.
So that would be quite nice to do that. I'm trying to think what else. Did you do last week the Warfront, get the 385 item? Then
that rings a bell. I think I must have done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been noticing that rewards for things have been a bit more generous this time?
Yes, and actually, interestingly, I had a discussion about this, which I'll come to in a minute, about the rewards and what it was doing to progression stuff with some friends of ours. So I'll speak on that in a bit.
Yeah, the only other thing is we've been doing raiding. We've done. Normally, we sort of do as many as we can, and then we start again the next week. But I think this week is going to be the first time that we've actually had a raid lock. So
yeah,
we've done the first 4. The 4 keep dead when we go back in.
Yes.
So we have a full hour and a half of our raid time to try and get to the next bit. So,
and I think we are even thinking about doing the first boss on heroic for better loots.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to do that tonight, though.
No, but that's in discussion, I seem to remember.
Yes.
And then with D&D, my Brewmaster Monk had a downtime session because I'd missed one, and I made him make some booze. So he now has blackcurrant flavoured beer.
Nice.
And it has a really interesting sort of effect in battle because it's a home brewed item.
Is it homebrew?
Yeah, it is. It is. And I had to our DM had a thing where like I rolled a d20 and one of the possibilities that he had behind the screen was what the effect was. So if I rolled really terribly, it would have been something awful would happen if I drunk it, right? So I rolled it and got a nat 20.
Oh, nice.
So if I drink it during a battle for 3 rounds, I get auto crit hits.
Nice.
Yeah. So I hit wraiths in the face really hard and they died again. So yeah, that was pretty fun.
Awesome.
That was pretty fun.
That
That was my week.
Awesome. Well, I've had quite a chill week because I managed to finish my working holiday period on the 17th of December. So I've had a chunk of time home to just relax and mostly recharge my batteries, sleeping for ridiculous long periods of time. But I have had some time to mess around in WoW. Like we mentioned, I've done the new I think I've done a fair chunk of the new content. I think I must have gotten a good way through that. I'd have to log back in again to see where I am, but I think I did anything I could do on my own. And then a bunch of us, like 4 of us, went into the war fronts. I healed that, which was fun from my point of view because it was just basically like chase after random disparate groups of vengeful alliance as they go around murdering horde and picking up stuff. There was less like running to a mine to do a bit of mining or running to a lumberyard to chop down some trees. As I mentioned, it was more just this is the battlefront and this is sort of, frontline healing, as it were. So I enjoyed that. And then I went and got my heritage armour, which is good. Like the look of it. I have actually transmogged out the chess piece, which I think looks a little boring. But other than that, I did that storyline, which takes you to Old Ironforge and various other places around Azeroth, which is all fun. Enjoyed it. Nice little bit of story questing. Did, however, remind me that dwarves have something called Stone Form, which for 8 seconds is a damage mitigation and cancels all negative effects on you. Yeah, so the last 2 expansions, I've both tanked, healed, and DPS'd as a paladin, and apparently forgot I effectively had another damage mitigation cooldown that I've not been using.
Oh dear.
Whoops.
Well, you know now.
I do know now.
It's better than before.
So yeah, there's that. And what else was I doing this week? Oh yes, we went out with the wonderful ladies from GGW. Went to a pub, as is our wont. And we met up with Fatusbloke, who is otherwise known to us as Stabface. Our I was going to say guild. We are kind of like a guild.
He's our community.
That's it. We're a community. He's our community rogue extraordinaire, sneaker of sneaky things and stabby of stabby things. So yes, he was down London way, and we met up, went for a drink, and that was cool. One of the things I mentioned a minute ago about items. So he's actually a sort of pretty hardcore progression raider.
Like a mythic
and
raider.
So he's so he doesn't always, or he doesn't just run with our community, and he obviously sees a lot of the content as quite cutting edge. And one of the things he was saying is that the Mythic Plus stuff, especially when you start getting at the Mythic Plus, like plus 10, is dropping gear that's the same as you get in the raids. And what this is doing is meaning that people, there's a sort of, amongst the like top level raiders like Method and people like that, there's a debate going on as to whether you spend your time running 10-man raid content or running 5-man mythic content. And and obviously we're getting gear from warfronts and from islands and all this sort of thing. There's new ways of getting gear, and at the same time that's like sort of throwing off the order and the previous progression of how like high end raiders would get gear and what it's meaning for people leveling through that content. And one of the things he brought up, which I thought was interesting, is how the Mythic Pluses, on the one hand, they're like enabling our community to actually do, like, GGW can organize this group of people who aren't necessarily progression raiders, and we can actually make progress through the normal raids because we all individually get gear through the various things we like to do. So obviously our guild likes to do the Mythic Plus stuff, and people get stuff from the warfronts. There's other people doing world PvP and that sort of thing. So on the one hand, that's great because it means that we can get the stuff to do the raids, which we wouldn't normally be able to do. But on the other hand, and this is where actually I kind of related it to what we're seeing with this expansion, Robbie, which is we are getting gear from outside of the Mythic Pluses, which means a lot of the stuff that's dropping in the level of Mythic Plus we're doing at the moment isn't an upgrade anymore. And that's meaning we're having, I think, a slower time of progressing this expansion than we did in Legion, where any successful run was usually going to guarantee an upgrade of some sort. I don't know if you've noticed that, or...
Yeah, it's been quite a slow one, and I was trying for the life of me to figure out why it was that way. So that's kind of interesting to sort of...
I don't think, like I say, we haven't got any empirical data on this, but these are the sort of observations we were making, which I thought was very interesting. Also, have you heard the news that they've nerfed Temple of Snacks? The spinny...
Oh my God.
The spinny...
When
this
was
patch.
this?
the spinny, stupid balls of really fecking annoying gating mechanism have been nerfed down to be actually quite manageable. There's less balls, they spin less often, they do less damage. You can just navigate them normally with a little bit of fine motor skills as opposed to having to die and res on the other side of them. So
that's really interesting that they've actually
yes,
paid
exactly.
attention.
They obviously heard every single player of WoW go, "Oh my god, Temple of Snex is awful," and have.
Yeah, but is this more annoying?
I
than
don't
Oculus?
think so, because I think the other parts of that dungeon I quite enjoyed.
I like the
Yeah.
last boss mechanic. That's
So
one of
I don't
my
know.
favourites.
I think maybe that gives us another keystone option to do. We can try Temple of Snex again. See how we like it.
Oh dear.
So,
yeah, fair enough. I won't hold my breath. But fair.
I've been playing some D&D as well. I joined a guild, which is not something I've ever done in a D&D game. So we're playing the Dragon Heist Waterdeep stuff. And that's got various different factions like the Harpers and these sorts of things. My character and a bunch of us, but not all of us, agreed to work for a group called Grey Force, which is a sort of lawful neutral military organization that work for one of the Lords of Waterdeep, the chief wizardy person, Lady Blackstaff. And so we did a mission for them, which was good fun. And we got Point of Renown, which is also something I've never had in D&D. So Renown is basically gives you military rank if your organization is so structured. Also gives you things like items in game and all that sort of thing. So that was interesting. A bit of D&D mechanics I hadn't encountered before. I'm also contemplating making a healing class for the monk. So my thinking is currently something along the line of you can align your chi with a number of characters, which can include yourself, up to your wisdom modifier, and then as you do damage, half of the damage you do rounded down is awarded to the people you're aligned your chi to as hit points. So rather than being a burst of lay on hands or healing word or whatever, it'd be basically sort of a trickle charge of 2 and 3 and 4 or 5 points of hit points here and there. So I'm going to try and write that up while I've got some time over the festive break. And then play test it with my gamer group. So maybe I'll let people know how that goes if they're interested, and I'll try and put out the resulting homebrew if and when it comes out. It may be that we can't actually balance it properly with that sort of mechanic, so it'll be a bit of a learning curve to see. But I've got a lot of friends in my gaming group who have either designed games in the past or have authored role-play systems. So hopefully they can help me get a bit of decent balance on things. We shall see.
Yeah. Sounds really interesting.
So that was our weeks. And then I was also interested about sort of what's your festive weekend. What am I talking about? What's your festive weeks? How do you guys do Christmas? What will you be doing for Christmas? Will you be traveling? Will you have family round?
So we have the unfortunate position of having a lot of our family members working for the NHS. So Christmas is very disjointed this year. So it's pretty much going to be that. Well, actually, it turns out I'm working on Christmas Day in the morning. Yeah, well, that's fine.
You're working with the doggos?
With the doggos, yes. I go up to the doggos in the morning and give them their
doggos need
walks.
Christmas as well.
And a lot of people... Yeah, the doggos also don't even realise it's Christmas. So they don't stop for the day just because we do. So we have a lot of volunteer people come up and turn up and walk the dogs. And we sort of have a kind of a nice quiet morning, and then I will be going round to my sister's house in the afternoon with my mum, And then on Boxing Day, we have a pub meal booked, I think. And then that's our sort of proper Christmas Day
Nice.
this year. And then in the evening on Boxing Day, we'll do the gift exchange. So yeah, it's a bit of a hectic couple of days, but it's a nice few days.
So where does the Boxing Day thing come from? Is that just practicality because you guys aren't all around at the same time, or is it a European tradition, or is it English?
Well, it's one of those ones where a lot of Scandinavian people sort of have a 3-day thing. So, like traditionally, you would always get the tree on Christmas Eve, and then you would sort of spend time with the family decorating it. And then on the Christmas Day itself, you would do the gift exchanging and the big meal as you do in most countries. And then on the Boxing Day, you then spend the day outside with your family and do like outdoor activities stuff. So like in some Scandinavian countries, that would be like skiing, or it would be sort of going for a walk in the countryside sort of thing, like that, sort of like enjoying the scenery in the outside. After being indoors for a couple of months, like pretty much for the couple of days beforehand, sorting everything out. So we sort of take it from there, really. So we have our outdoor thing is actually going to be on Christmas Day, and then our indoor gift exchange day is Boxing Day, and Christmas Eve we sort of aren't really having much of a Christmas Eve, but we will be spending it inside, sorting everything out for the Boxing Day. So, you know, it's sort of a bit of a mix and match, but traditionally you would have a 3-day thing. What about you? Do you have just the day of Christmas itself?
Yes, kind of. So I've got a member of my family whose birthday is the 24th of December. So we kind of have to keep the 24th to be like their birthday rather than it being rolled up and absorbed into the Christmas celebration. So, we'll be going back to my family because last year we went to my partner's families. So this year we'll be going to my family and we'll be doing Christmas with them. My sister's just had her first baby. She's had a little girl. So it'll be my niece's first Christmas, which will be very fun. We will do the Christmas Eve as a birthday rather than a Christmas celebration, and then we will do Christmas Day, the very standard English Christian festival. So we'll go to church and then do present opening afterwards, or possibly before, depending on how early and how excited everybody is. It used to be as kids that we would do everything very early in the morning and then go off to church and then come back for food. But these days it tends to be, as we're all adults, it tends to be get up at some lazy hour and then drift into things as and when we can be bothered. So.
And then it gets 8:00 in the evening, and you realise, oh wait,
yeah, exactly. So the only thing that we'll definitely be doing is obviously the big meal in the middle of the day. We tend to actually these days do that sort of around 4 or 5 o'clockish, and it kind of becomes the only meal. You sort of you have a small breakfast, then a massive meal, and then you just snack when you're hungry after that. And then we will do Boxing Day. We will bring some. A fresh piece of lamb up from my partner's farm that her family has, which has sort of become an unofficial tradition because it's really, really amazing food. And then we'll cook that for Boxing Day, and then that kind of wraps things up because then my sister's side of the family will then go up to the north of England where they've got family on her husband's side. And then we'll come back down to London to do New Year's stuff with some friends of ours. We've got a Scandinavian friend who's doing it was supposed to be a pre-Christmas thing that the Danes do, but unfortunately because her husband was taken ill, and in fact we wish him all the best because he's currently in hospital having surgery. Hopefully that's all gone well by now. But yes, they were going to do a Christmas Danish Christmas festival thing with all of us, which name I've completely forgotten, and I'm not going to try and butcher it by speaking Danish. But that's now happening between Christmas and New Year, so that's going to be quite fun. So,
trying to think, is the Danish? I think the Danish thing is the candles.
I think it
thing.
is. There's certainly lots of
seems
candles
true.
around their house at the moment, so that wouldn't surprise me.
Oh yeah. The 24 days of candles as the Advent. Yeah, that's the one. I knew
Yeah.
that.
So
I don't know what the name of that is
No.
either, but I know it's something ridiculously difficult.
I know
to
lots
say.
and lots of jars of pickled vegetables have turned up.
Oh, that's just a Scandinavian thing. That's not.
Yeah.
That's not a weird thing. That's just not just.
There's one that was.
That's not this time of
There's
year.
one that I saw that was red cabbage, and it was rot cal, I think is how they pronounced it. But weirdly, because of all the accented letters that obviously in English we don't have, when I tried to read it phonetically, it read as roadkill.
Roadkill.
I was like, we appear to have a jar of roadkill delivered.
Oh.
So, yes, I was being all terribly British and useless around other people's holiday traditions, but I'm going to enjoy and taking part in them, so that'll be fun.
No, but yeah, Rutkow is from what I can make out of it, I think it's pickled beetroot and cauliflower.
Oh, okay, cool.
I think, yeah,
sounds,
because I know that cal is a short form for cauliflower, and rod is more like red, as in the color red with red pickle.
So, either way, it sounds. Yeah, maybe I won't be partaking of that.
It's tradition.
It may be tradition, but so are Brussels sprouts and mince pies, and I don't like either of those either. So,
at least it's not smoked eel and scrambled eggs.
Oh, is that a tradition that you would be partaking of this Christmas?
God, no. No,
well, of course not.
Although the house,
you're vegan,
yeah, because it's
for a start.
yeah. Like, but the house will be probably smelling a lot like fish in the morning on Christmas Day, but it's fine.
All right.
Like, I can let them have that for one day, surely.
Good. So we have a bunch of Christmassy themed topics this week. There is stuff going on in Blizzard and in technology and in Nintendo sales and all this good stuff. But we'll pick that up in the new year if we need to. This episode, we are going to go into Christmassy stuff, so enjoy the festivities. Apple is definitely enjoying the festivities. They released a new Christmas cartoon into their app store. Did you see this one, Robbie?
No. I'm glad I didn't.
Have you seen it since?
No.
Have a look at the link and have a look at the cartoon.
Yeah. Is this... Oh, wait, is this one with the Christmas tree?
This is the one with the Christmas tree.
Yeah, okay, then I've just seen this now.
So Apple have decided to try and advertise that they're going to save you some cash during the holidays. And there's a picture of a man pulling a small Christmas tree out of his pocket. Unfortunately, the angle at which they've drawn the body means that the tree doesn't look like it's coming out of the pocket of the corner of his trousers, more like it's coming out of the fly in the center of his trousers. Yes. So let's just say Reddit have had a lot of fun with this, and that Apple have since withdrawn the image.
I wonder why.
Because it looked slightly phallic, shall we say.
Someone also mentioned that the pocket looks like a scrotum.
It really does. That's the sort of disturbing.
Because that's the side of someone. Because that's the sort of the side of someone's leg where like a trouser pocket would be, and they're trying to put a tree into it.
But yeah, it doesn't look like the side. The angle of the body means it just doesn't look like the side of a pocket at all. It looks like it's coming out through the gentleman's zipper.
The gentleman's zipper, the official word.
Yes, to use an Americanism, it's his zipper. Yes, Apple have decked the halls, shall we say?
Oh dear.
So there is an interesting topic of discussion. I thought, as we've been talking about what we're going to be doing for Christmas, that it might be interesting to look at this one. This is a survey. It was actually commissioned by Furniture Village, the furniture retailer in the UK. So it's probably just designed as a marketing exercise. But The Irish Tech News website picked up this and was looking at some facts and figures for sort of what we would like, how we would like to spend our Christmases, and how people actually do. So apparently, 1 in 3, or 70%, said they would like to have traditional Christmas dinner around the dinner table, and thinks that it has a positive effect on family relations. 33% says it probably has a positive positive effect on child's development, and 28% said they thought it had that having a meal around the table with your family at Christmas. 28% of people thought it had a positive effect on their mental health. But then the survey went on to say that actually 41% of the families surveyed were probably going to plonk their kids in front of the TV when they gave them food. And 54% admitted to having the TV on rather than having conversations, and not eating regularly around a dinner table. And then 42% said they probably would be spending some time on their smartphones. So I know I've got friends who have a rule of no phones at the dinner table, and I know I come from a family where we did eat all of our meals around the table as a family at a set time. Obviously, I'm old enough to know a time when we didn't have portable electronic devices that we could actually have at the table, so it never really became a thing for my childhood. But how do you think your festive dining plans are going to be affected by your tech this Christmas, Robbie? Do you guys have a rule of any no tech at the table or anything like that?
We have the only thing about no tech is when we're out for meals, as in at a restaurant.
Okay, that's interesting.
Because we're actually gone to a place specifically to sit down and have a meal together.
Right.
So that one is the one that I definitely am all right with. And then it's just a general case of we do have a meal once a week at the dining table. And the day can change depending on how people are working and whatever, but we try to do at least once a week, and we don't have tech there. But that's not, as a rule, we just don't.
That's not a Christmas thing. That's just a family thing.
Yeah.
That's true.
But yeah, it doesn't really bother me.
Yeah, see, it wouldn't bother me either, because I don't particularly see having a mobile device as disrupting or making you less social, because you're just communicating and socializing with people in a different way. But at the same time, like I wouldn't have my phone around during a meal, simply because, well, to be honest, I'm probably more busy eating the meal than I am having time for my phone. But I might use it for things like, getting recipes up when I'm preparing Christmas dinner, if I was doing that, or these sort of things. So I think there's a place for it there. I definitely would have meals round the dinner table with family and friends, though. I wouldn't be sitting in front of the TV to eat it, unless it was just, like having a snack after the big meal, like, in the evening, perhaps in front of Christmas specials or anything, or something like that. So I can sort of see why people have aspirations, at least, for this sort of traditional way of doing things, and keeping tech out of the equation. Also, I think, there's part of it, as I mentioned, is that, at least a generation of your family is going to remember when there wasn't tech at the table during Christmas, simply because there wasn't tech. And so obviously that informs your traditions, because it becomes, we don't have phones at the table because, we can all remember a time when we didn't have phones at the table, which I think is also fair enough. Do you think, what do you think to the statistics about people thinking it's, better for children's development and better for your mental health? It sounds like the Scandinavians have quite a good tradition of doing, healthy outdoor activities with family, which is all cool. But obviously other families have horror stories of, you get together family you don't usually see, and the arguments start and all this sort of thing. So.
Yeah, like that's why I'm kind of a bit like with the tech free stuff. I'm like, maybe that's someone's outlet for not for getting through the fact that people are shouting at each other the whole time. And that would be better for my mental health for sure if I could take myself away from that, even though I'm having to sort of be in the middle of it.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, go on.
I mean, I'm not 100% sure about the child development thing, but it's not really my field of expertise at all. But with the mental health thing, I can see where people are coming from, where like the social interaction and the things like that are good for your mental health. But then so is also going out and doing things with your family. So it's not necessarily just a thing to do with eating, is it?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're probably on the same page of this. I think, obviously doing things with your family and doing things regularly with them, or even just doing things with your close group of friends, or just the people that you do with in various cases. I think any kind of regular social interaction is going to be good for mental health and your well-being and that sort of thing. And obviously we are social creatures, so it's not surprising that that's the case. But I think there is like you said, there is an element of being able to use technology to either be a springboard for new conversations. Obviously you can talk about the shows that are going on, and you can enjoy the Christmas specials together and that sort of thing. But yeah, there is the element of being able to get a bit of escapism when it's all a bit too much. So I personally think that maybe no texting around the turkey, but I think having access to technology and communications and being able to enjoy Christmas with various extended online or offline families is there's a place for that as well. So.
But you will have tech at the table because of your watch.
I will, yes. This has actually come up. I've been told to leave my phone away from the table, and I've dutifully done so. But my watch on my wrist is all the more smart these days, and I can interact with it and still get information about notifications and that sort of thing. So, there's sometimes there's no getting away from it. Obviously, you can take a watch off, but it's quite useful having these little things. And I've actually been playing more with my smartwatch recently. It's got functions I didn't know, such as you can ask Google to roll dice for D&D, and it will actually roll them and play a little dice rolling noise and give you the score, which is quite fun.
Well, so you can ask it to roll 2d20s.
Yeah, and it will do. And if you ask it to roll a dice of one type and a dice of the other, it'll tell you both of the rolls and then add them together for you and things like that.
So now you don't have an excuse for forgetting your dice.
Well, this is true. This is if I'm at the table for something other than turkey, then yes, try a bit of D&Ding with it. It's also got a very cool translate feature. We were playing around with this. So my office has got a large, very ethnically diverse group of people, and we were testing out Google Translate on the watch. It turns out that for things like Russian and Spanish and Italian and Portuguese, it will do very accurate translations. In fact, even in Russian, it even translates. I said, if you will pardon my language, it's bloody cold out here, and it translated to it's devilishly cold out here in Russian, because obviously they don't have the same swear word we do, but it even translated the fact that the swear word I was using was semi-religious, and therefore it picked the closest semi-religious Russian swear word. And similarly, my friend swore in Russian or used a slang term, including swearing, in Russian, and it translated it into English perfectly, although it also censored the swear word, which I thought was amusing.
It's self-censored.
So, it did. It's self-censored. So yeah.
Funny.
Tech at the table can have some advantages.
Yes.
Yes. So, this time of year, it's time to give gifts and open presents, and inevitably, in this modern day and age, get lots of deliveries from Amazon and eBay and people like that. And obviously, if you're not in, because they tend to be delivered while people are at work, then delivery companies have various strategies. I know we've held parcels for our neighbours, and they've come around and called them later. In the US, it seems to be, where they generally have better weather than we do, I would say. It tends to be a thing of leaving the parcel on your porch,
Oh,
the covered area at the front of your house. Now, did you see the video that I linked you to, Robbie?
yes, I did.
This is a rather creative solution from a NASA engineer who decided he was fed up of having his parcels stolen from the front of his house. This is an engineer by the name of Mark Robber, and he has been a NASA engineer for many years. He's he's a former NASA engineer, I should say, at this point. He's had some of his technology on the Mars rover. He's had a history with engineering and electronics, and he decided that after a parcel was marked as delivered by the parcel company, but never turned up, that he'd check his CCTV, and sure enough, he saw a couple, a man and a woman, with backpacks on, walking around his neighborhood and just taking the parcels that had been left out by the delivery company and walking off with them, stealing them, effectively. So he decided that he was fed up of this, and he was going to take a bit of vigilante justice, and he engineered an amazing device, and I recommend people go check out the video from the show notes. It's absolutely fantastic. It's 4 mobile phones in a chassis that face outwards with wide-angle lenses and basically can capture almost 360 degrees around the box. In the top of the box is a small dish concave that he puts a metric ton of, not literally, of extra fine glitter, and that is on a motor. So when the box is opened, it will spin round and distribute glitter all over the area, which is fantastic. We love that. It also has a mechanism which will do 5 sprays of fart spray, like joke shop, foul-smelling stuff. And it's recording the video from this and permanently uploading it to the cloud. It's got a GPS sensor in it so that it knows when it's been taken out of the proximity of the porch, and that arms the device. And it's also got a double switch system so that when the packaging is removed, it sets the device off. And so what he wanted to do was was capture the video of the people stealing the parcel for a start, and then obviously it covers their shit in glitter, excellent, and then stinks the place out, so they throw it out of their car or house or whatever, and that way he could retrieve the device. And it works so well that he retrieved it and set it several times, including lending it to a friend who was also having her parcel stolen, and they put the video together for you to see on his YouTube channel. They faked up the packaging like an Apple HomePod, and even went as far as like heat wrapping the item and sticking a delivery label on it, which is fantastic. And yeah, unsuspecting thieves got.
They done did got.
They did got. And the funny thing was that because the senders were grabbing these things and running off with them, and they weren't going to be checking the the delivery label or anything like that, he actually made the delivery label so it came from Kevin McAllister from Home Alone. Yeah. And the house address was the house that they actually filmed the Home Alone things in, and the actual 2 address was the 2 robbers, Marv and I forget the name of the other one, but the people that the package was supposedly being sent to was from Macaulay Culkin's character to the 2 thieves that break into the house. So yeah, that's just absolutely fantastic. And the funny thing is, the people that are caught nicking these parcels are like people from any walk of life. There's young men that you kind of would stereotypically say that they'd be the people, the type of people who would maybe do an opportunistic crime, but there's also women get caught with this. There's couples get caught with this. There's quite apparently well-to-do middle-class people getting done with this. Like there are a bunch of bad apples out there nicking presents, and it's cool that this guy pranked him out.
Like I'm really impressed with this. I'm just watching the video again now.
I think it's fantastic. I mean, he says like quite a lot of the time, like, "Oh, I've over-engineered something." I don't think you've over-engineered it at all, mate. I think you've absolutely fantastic. The only problem with this is that he doesn't go into whether or not this led to any criminal convictions, which I kind of think it should do. But he has said that even when he gave the police his own CCTV camera of parcels being stolen from outside the front of his house, that they said it wasn't worth it for them to investigate the crime. Which is kind of shitty.
But it has footage of them doing it.
Yeah, and GPS data about where they were and all this sort of thing.
I mean,
it doesn't
like that one of them is just like literally the subtitle is "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant, amazing.
One of them's like, "Oh, no way,
Dude,
what have you done?" Like,
dude,
"Oh,
my
just throw it
car,
back." Like,
dude, look at my car. Yeah.
Yeah, one of them's like, "Oh, my girlfriend's not going to get in this car." It's like, well, you should have thought of that before you started stealing people's Christmas presents.
You piece of shit.
Naughty people. Yeah, they're going on the naughty list. No present.
I like how
from
one of them
Santa.
like literally just drives past and then reverses back going, "Huh." An inconspicuous package just left on the middle of the door. Yeah, it's left on the middle of the doorstep. Like, I don't know about in America, but we don't have like the incompetence of delivery drivers here, leaving it plainly in view. At least they attempt to hide it.
Yeah, I mean, we do tend to have a bit of more emphasis placed on more securely keeping your packages. To be honest, with my experience of delivery things, most of the time they just actually don't bother putting them in the van and then leave you a note saying that they couldn't deliver it and you have to come and pick it up yourself. But that's a gripe for another day. But I just absolutely love the fact that this, it's such a great way, and it's such a complete package of a solution as well, even down to putting the foul-smelling fart spray in there so that they would throw the device out, and it means that you can retrieve it and either use it again or capture the footage off of it. They had thought about it though. They had thought like, what happens if someone takes it apart and just decides, oh, there's 4 free phones for me. They'd actually had it so that the phones would be permanently uploading data to the cloud. So even if they'd lost the phones, they would have actually kept the data and been able to use it.
I like also the subtitles is just like glitter and like fart spray, just like
yeah, fart spray, glitter.
This also kind of makes me feel really sad that people resort to doing things like this in the first place. Like the fact that,
I mean,
not only the fact that people steal things from people's like steps and that, but the fact that like people feel so unable to do anything through authoritative measures that they have to resort to doing things themselves.
Yeah, and it's also I understand that people steal and that's terrible in the first place, but like stealing things that are probably intended to be people's Christmas presents, it's very, very Scroogey.
It is
not good people going on the naughty list. Santa will not come and visit them. Speaking of Santa coming and visiting people, NORAD, the North American Aerospace Defense Command, are once again this Christmas, they will be tracking with their satellites and their radars and their various intelligence gathering methods. They'll be tracking Santa's journey around the globe as he travels in his sleigh and delivers presents to everybody. He will have to travel a total of, I think this is 510.
No, it's 510 million.
I might be. That's 510 million. Okay, right. Yes, now you mention it. I've put too many zeros in there, but he'll have to travel a grand total of 510 million kilometers on Christmas Eve, which means he'll be traveling at approximately 1,800 miles a second. It sounds a bit ridiculous, but it must mean that that Santa is using some form of space-time dilation
Santa's superhero
device
confirmed.
to be able to. Indeed. He will be visiting 390,000 homes a minute, or 6,424 per second. So there's definitely some sort of warp field or temporal dilation device going on there. The elves have cooked up some interesting magic. As he travels around the world, he will be consuming. I mean, what do you leave out for Santa, Robbie? Or what did you leave out for Santa?
Carrots for Rudolph. Yes.
Oh, yes.
And probably mince
carrots
pies.
for Rudolph.
Yeah, I
Did
think
Santa
mince
get everything?
pies.
Mince pies. Yeah. Fair enough. So in our house, it was carrots for Rudolph. Yep, had to be carrots for Rudolph. And then it was cookies or biscuits, I should say, and a glass of sherry for Santa. I know in America they sometimes leave out a glass of milk. Not a big drinking household. I think there's some parts of Europe where it's a stein of beer and things like that. So from sherry and wine and beer and mince pies and gingerbread and cookies and fruit cake and all that sort of thing, Santa will probably consume. I actually have no. I'm not sure how big a number that is.
764,000,000 calories.
There we go. That's what I thought it was, but as I muffed up the large number at the beginning, I thought I'd give that one for Robbie. 71 trillion calories plus.
That's a few Wetherspoons breakfasts.
So I think that is one or two. Yes, I think it's safe to say that whatever space warping or time dilating effects that Santa has going on, it's obviously fueled by a calorific intake. So perhaps it's not magic from the elves. Maybe Santa has some powers of his own. Maybe he's actually the Flash. That would kind of do it, wouldn't it? So yes, there's going to be quite the journey on Christmas Eve for Saint Nick. He starts in the South Pacific, where he
go on, butcher this place name. Butcher this place name. Do it.
What, the Republic of
Kiribati? Ha ha. Yeah.
Oh, it's Kiribati. Ah, okay. I haven't come across that before. So yes, he'll be stopping there, and then 32 atolls across the Pacific Ocean. Then obviously New Zealand, Australia, and Japan they get Christmas Day decidedly ahead of us in the West, and then they'll track him over all the usual Asia, the Middle East, Africa, Europe, and then obviously on to South America and North America and Canada. And yes, and they put this info out on a Twitter account. So if you have a quick search for NORAD Santa Tracker on Twitter, you'll find that account. And I usually make a point of following it and retweeting stuff as and when it tickles my fancy. So yeah, there we go. Santa's getting some high tech help from NORAD. There is something to be said for all those calories and all those alcoholic drinks while being in charge of a faster than light supersonic sled. But we wish Santa a safe journey.
Yes.
A very busy journey. Speaking of giving Santa a safe journey, there's another video which I recommend people check out from our show notes this week, and that is Doctor Who. There's done a very, very cool, very cute little animation of the Doctor helping Santa to once again make his Christmas rounds, and with the help of the TARDIS, which is really cool. And it's narrated by what's his name? Walsh, one of the
Bradley
with
Walsh
with the Doctor. Bradley Walsh, that's it. I'd got Timothy Walsh in my head. I knew that wasn't right. It's narrated by Bradley Walsh. It has the Doctor as performing as herself, and it's about 2 or 3 minutes long, but it's very cute, very nice animation. And this, of course, is to make up for the fact that there isn't a Doctor Who Christmas special at Christmas. There will be a Doctor Who special at New Year's, on New Year's Day. So they're what's the word? Deferring their festive special to New Year's Day for UK audiences, and probably, I imagine, US audiences as well. I think they simultaneously.
Can we
broadcast
talk
these
about
things
how
at once.
Santa uses an iPlum phone?
Yeah, I
It's like,
did like
"Huh."
that.
So he's not
It's
an
very
Apple
good.
fanboy.
No, he's got an iPlum. Maybe that's the best kind of reception
Yeah,
you get in
clearly.
that land.
Clearly, yeah. Good times.
Yeah, but it has a Christmas pudding on the back as well.
It's the nice little touches.
Yep. So it is. I like it. I like that they've taken the time to do these animations, because those animations are not easy to make, and they're not sort of things you even with modern day animation technology and computer technology, it's not something that you just knock up in half an hour. So this would have been planned, and they'll have got the actors in to record the voice work and all that sort of thing. So it's nice that they take time to do something for Christmas for Doctor Who. So yes, check that out in our show notes, and there's links to the video, and it's really good fun. So, for the last time this year, I can tell you that we at the Geek Card are proud members of the Voice of Geeks Network, where there are awesome geeky podcasts, Orange Lounge Radio, Styleball Power Coupling. Obviously, there is the amazing Girls Gone WoW, and all sorts of other amazing shows. They will be doing various festive episodes, I am sure. You can check out all of that content over at allthews.vognetwork.com. We have a positively busy inbox this week, Robbie. Why don't we go into that?
Yes, we have quite a long message from Marie, which is nice because we get to talk about lots of different things. So a few shows ago, I posed the question, what would you tell someone new to the internet? So Marie says, the same thing I tell my kids, keep your mind engaged. People can say, in brackets, and fake whatever they want. Recognize your echo chamber, behave there as you would in person, and be nice. Guard your mental health. And what would I do without internet access? Read a lot more, go outside, play offline games. Banking and purchasing would be the most difficult, but I was in college before the internet. Our worlds were more local and less instantaneous. That's all.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's all very good advice from Marie there. I think it's going to be an interesting challenge that we may potentially face in the future of having to introduce new people or young people to the internet, and obviously we grew up at a different age of it, and we've I like to think people have sort of figured out their own coping mechanisms for dealing with an online on-demand world. But I think you can't really fault those. Recognizing your own echo chamber is a very very important one. I think most people actually don't do at the moment.
Yeah.
And they think the world all thinks like they do because they only speak to people online and who think
you're reaffirming your own views.
Yeah, and also algorithms try and predict what you like, and so all it does is give you more of what you like and more of how you think. So, there's always a bit of a danger there. So, fantastic advice from Marie. Thank you for writing in.
Yes.
If you want to write into the show, you can find us on Twitter. We are at TGCShow. It's the best way of getting in touch and getting your thoughts and all that good stuff into the inbox. Robbie, how can people find you?
You can find me at Robbie_glow on the Twitters.
And I am at RZBG. If you want to join us for the Girls Gone WoW raid and be part of that growing community, you can head over to girlsgonewow.net/Discord, and they've got details about their community and their raid schedule and all that sort of thing over there. And that's all good. We go out not live on Thursdays, vognetwork.com/the-geek-card. You can find the show for looking at the show notes and checking out those videos we've talked about, thegeekcard.podbean.com. And we're obviously on Stitcher, we're on iTunes, we're on all of the good places that you get your podcasts from, but you already knew that because you're listening to this show.
Yeah.
For myself, for the fabulous Robbie Glow, that will do us for the Geek Card for 2018. We will be back in the new year. Check out the Twitters for more details about when we will be back on the air with our next show. I don't think we have any firm plans down just yet, but we will update everyone on Twitter and let you all know what's going on and when you can catch the show again. But until then, we can wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
You've been listening to The Geek Card with your hosts, Razerbug and Robbie Glow. You can find The Geek Card wherever fine podcasts are found and on the web at thegeekcard.podbean.com. The Geek Card is a proud member of the Voice of Geeks Network, where you can find other amazing podcasts like Orange Lounge Radio, Starboard Power Coupling, and Girls Gone WoW. Find out more at www.vognetwork.com.